Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and welcome to Saturday's, but not just any Saturday's, edition of the DCEU Daily. Yes, happy DC Fandome Day. Quite a few hours from now, although by the time this video uploads we could nearly be there. We will be celebrating the event that is DC Fandome. And why are we all excited? Because it's a celebration of these DC universes and characters. I mean, this week it's been another kind of positive and negative week. I mean, some people have been very, very upset with the comic book writer Tom Taylor for making John Kent buy it. I'm not upset about this. I've explained the permutations around it and stuff, but I'm not upset about it. You know, they're the creators, they're the visionaries, they can do what they want, and if you reject this, you can just enjoy the comic books you did. But today, at the end of the day, is about celebration. It's DC Fandome Day, and you know, honestly, I just hope you get the announcement and the news that you want. Ultimately today, you're going to hear a lot of surprises, and I mean big surprises. You're going to see your favourite DC actors, directors, writers, comic book artists here, and some of it will be standard, some of it won't be surprising, and some of it will. We know we've got 5 upcoming DC movies, which is so huge, and they're going to promote the hell out of them. So the first movie is the Batman. Then, so we will get a Batman panel. I don't know if the Batman panel will be lost, just to keep you there, and that trailer. The trailer is the reason everyone's showing up, really. So yes, that's huge. So they may leave him till last, and I hope I can last, because DC Fandome here in Cyprus launches at 8 PM at night. It's 4 hours long. Thank you, John, for letting me know all the scheduling and everything. John is one of our wonderful subscribers, and he contacted me to let me know the information. Yes, so starts at 8 PM Cyprus time tonight and finishes midnight, I think. So it's going to be a bit of a long one for me. Again, because of the schedule, I don't know how many reaction vids I can do on the day, which is tonight. So it's either going to be the bite-sized videos with very bad lighting, or it might just be on tomorrow's DCEU Daily. We literally talk about everything, which I would do anyway on tomorrow's DCEU Daily. So we will have to wait and see. I'd love in the comments down below for you to let me know how you're feeling. The nerves have set in for me because it's a huge day. I know a lot of you want certain things to be announced and want to see certain people. And I have, you know, I have my own hopes and my own dreams for today. And what I've predicted and what I've told you is going to happen on today's day. What do I expect to happen today? I expect the Joker sequel to be announced. I could be wrong about that. I half expect Henry Cavill to be announced for the Flash movie. That might not happen, but we'll wait and see. I don't expect the Man of Steel 2 or another Man of Steel movie to be announced. That would be sensational. That would really mean DC's back. But I don't expect that. Look, the chances of Henry Cavill's voice even being, the chance of Henry Cavill's name even being mentioned at today's DC Fandome are very, very minimal. So don't get your hopes up too much. I'm just hoping, and there's just a little feeling I have about it. No one's really told me anything. So look, there's a lot of things to expect. They're not going to, as I've said before, they're not going to give the whole game away. But look, DC Fandome, like all conventions, about promoting material. And this is about promoting their comic books, their animation, and there's a few articles to read as well very, very shortly. But yeah, this is a huge day for every fan who loves DC. And I am, you know, I'm not going to hide the fact that today is also a major Restore the Snyderverse event. Because I am embracing the future. I can't wait to this multiverse strategy. But Zack Snyder was done dirty, and we must never forget that. You know, I can embrace the future, but Zack made amazing DC movies, and he should have at least been allowed to finish what he was doing. So I will be hashtagging Restore the Snyderverse today, but I also will be hashtagging, as many times as Restore the Snyderverse, DC Fandome, and I will be watching and looking forward to it. So it's a huge day ahead. And this time tomorrow we could be discussing some really, you know, multiple pieces of amazing DC news, and I hope that we are. The Batman trailer image reveals different Catwoman hairstyle. So Matt Reeves dropped this picture of her yesterday and she is looking good. I want to make a point. I want to have a hot take about her at the end of this article, because I have got something to say about her recent comments about her costume. The Batman director Matt Reeves has revealed a new image of Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman Selina Kyle. Ahead of the upcoming trailer for the film, Kravitz will play the iconic Batman character alongside Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne, Paul Dano's Riddler, Jeffrey Wright's Jim Gordon, John Turturro's Carmine Falcone, Peter Sarsgaard's Gil Coulson, Andy Serkis' Alfred Pennyworth, and Colin Farrell's Penguin. The Batman is scheduled to release in theatres on March the 4th, 2022. I wonder if Selina Kyle, considering what she looks like, could actually be Commissioner Gordon's daughter in this iteration. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe it's actually Batgirl's sister. Maybe. Who knows? I know she's called Selina Kyle, but that could just be an alias. We'll have to wait and see. Catwoman has been a common inclusion in the modern era of Batman films, having been played by Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns and Anne Hathaway in The Dark Knight Rises, in addition to a solo live-action Catwoman film in 2004, starring Halle Berry. We don't want to talk about that though, do we? Kravitz is the latest star to bring Selina Kyle to the big screen, though she's previously voiced the character in Lego Batman movie. Depending on how the Batman performs at the box office, she could be playing the character for years to come. Let's hope so. A new image released on Twitter by Reeves shows Kravitz Selina Kyle sporting a shoulder-length haircut and a white tank top, staring intently at someone out of frame. It's not the full shot of her Catwoman costume that some may have been hoping for, but it's still a fun look at what's sure to be a fierce new version of the character. Check out the new Catwoman image below. Going off her look in the new image, the Batman's Catwoman looks ready to jump into action on the streets of Gotham. Kravitz has said she's used Pfeiffer's version of the character as inspiration, as well as the beloved Batman Year One comic. However, it's clear from Selina Kyle's new look that Kravitz will also be a fully fresh version of Catwoman, with Riddler and Penguin being the main antagonists of the movie. Catwoman will likely occupy more of an ally role in relation to Pattinson's Batman, with the two likely teaming up to help protect the innocent citizens of Gotham City, but it may not be that straightforward. There may be a twist here with Selina Kyle. This is Matt Reeves we're talking about. Catwoman's athletic wear seen in the trailer image hints at her predilection for acrobatics and swift escapes, and it should be even more fun to finally see Kravitz in the full-on Catwoman costume, something that's been teased but not yet completely revealed. Gotham will be facing a dangerous foe in the Batman's Riddler, and Bruce Wayne will likely need all the help he can get to take the villain down while keeping his own sanity intact. Hopefully the new trailer for the Batman will show more of Kravitz's Catwoman in action. Yeah, let's hope so, yeah. Listen, I don't think her costume is going to be a traditional costume. She's already commented about not being, sexually fetishized. Let me explain something to you, Zoe, how this works, right? People have seen you already because you're famous, and people have fantasized about you. Straight men, gay women have fantasized about you already. It doesn't matter what you're wearing, what you're not wearing. At the end of the day, you've already been fetishized. You're playing Catwoman because of the history. So the costume isn't actually a fetish. It's not. It's a great costume for Catwoman. It worked in the 60s, it worked in Tim Burton's Batman's Returns, and it was never sexual for me. I never actually looked at Michelle Pfeiffer's Selina Kyle as a sexual object. I saw her as a person. This complicated character that Shell played. And hopefully you're playing a complicated character and you do as good a job, maybe even better hopefully, than Michelle Pfeiffer. Sometimes, Zoe, it's just good to keep this zipped. I'm looking forward to your performance. I think you'll be great, but sometimes we can talk a little bit too much. Don't forget, James Gunn and his Suicide Squad and Peacemaker cast and crew will be at today's DC Fandome, and he's been talking about a certain cut scene that I think shouldn't have been cut. James Gunn details Ratcatcher 2's cut Suicide Squad death scene. Writer and director James Gunn shares details of Ratcatcher 2's death scene that was cut from an early version of the Suicide Squad script by Adam Benz. James Gunn details Ratcatcher 2's death scene that was cut from an early version of the Suicide Squad script. Following his work on the MCU's Guardians of the Galaxy movies, Gunn came over to the DCEU for his own take on the famous team of Belle Reve inmates who are sent on a high-risk Black Ops missions in exchange for shortened prison sentences. Though the Suicide Squad disappointed at the box office earlier this summer, it was a hit on HBO Max and widely praised by critics and audiences alike as a vast improvement from its 2017 predecessor. No, it wasn't an improvement. It was a fucking brilliant film. But it wasn't an improvement because the first one is actually a lot of fun as well. Don't put down one thing to uphold another. And yes, the box office was disappointing, but they covered what they wanted to make with with HBO Max. I've got DC Fandome on the brain. Look, this film's a hit. It's made money. End of the story. I'm not going to debate this anymore. Gunn's version brings back a few characters from David Ayer's Suicide Squad, namely Amanda Waller, Viola Davis as the ruthless leader of Task Force X, Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie and Rick Flag. Joe Kinnaman also returned for the prominent roles alongside Gunn's colourful cast of new characters. Yeah, basically, if you were a male from the last movie and Gunn brought you back, he killed you off. But if you're a woman, you don't die. You see, we were teased all these deaths and anyone could die. But the thing is, that wasn't the case in this film. Anyone couldn't die. Anyone didn't die. And if you're a woman, you were quite safe. So where are we? Colourful cast of new characters, which most notably includes Bloodsport Idris Elba, Peacemaker John Cena, Ratcatcher 2 Daniela Melchior, Polka Dot Man David Dastmalchian, and King Shark Sylvester Stallone. Other newcomers like Savant Michael Rooker, TDK Nathan Fillion, and Blackguard Pete Davidson failed to make it out of the first act alive. What a surprise. I think actually, who was it? I forgot which one. There was one female he did kill off, but we didn't even hear her talk. I forgot that character's name, but apart from that, I think it was only males who died in this film. And this is the atmosphere and environment we live today. You see, women and minorities are now protected species, and everybody else is, because it's okay. It's okay to abuse straight white males, but it's not okay to abuse everyone else. How about we're nice to everyone? And how about we make a movie where we advertise anyone can die and actually kill off anyone? How about, in a year's time we got Flashpoint. Just kill off Margot Robbie's, Harley Quinn. Be controversial, man. Be edgy. And you shouldn't have taken out this Ratcatcher 2 death. I love Daniela Melchior's performance as Ratcatcher. I'm glad she kind of gets off her life. She's an amazing character. I love her. I adore her. But at the end of the day, keep the death in. Keep the death in. It would have been interesting. But at the end of the day, you killed the best character off you killed two of the best characters off in Suicide Squad live action history. And that's Rick Flag by Joel Kinnaman and Boomy, Captain Boomerang, who was my favourite character, full of personality in the first film. And this is what they do today, right? It's okay to kill off men, but it's not okay to kill off women. Women are a protected species. What a shame. And this is not trying to insult women in general or women who follow this channel. This is my frustration that these extremists who run Hollywood today, to me, it's absolutely crazy. Anyway, in a new interview with Cinema Blend, writer-director James Gunn opened up about how he originally planned for Ratcatcher 2 to die at the end of Suicide Squad. Though he took the sequence out of the script before Warner Brothers ever got a chance to see it, he remembers a lot of the gnarly details which he describes below. At the very end of the movie, Ratcatcher 2 had taken the information about Project Starfish from Jotunheim. She had smuggled in and gotten away with all of that information from Jotunheim. The rest of the group didn't know about it, and Amanda Waller blew up her head after they went back to the prison, at which point Harley tries to talk Bloodsport's freak... What's that? Say that again. At which point Harley tries to talk Bloodsport's freaking out, because he's connected to this person like a daughter, and he's freaking out, and Harley is actually being sort of kind in a weird way, trying to talk Bloodsport into just letting it go. But Bloodsport ends up shooting Waller in the heart with a combustible bullet and threatening to blow her up. It was sort of complicated, but it was something like that. He didn't shoot her in the heart, he shot her right below the heart with one of the exploding bullets, which we see Peacemaker using earlier in the movie. And so now she has to do what he says. Wow! Why did you take this out? Gunn went on to explain why he decided to change this ending. Listen to this bullshit, saying it was too dark, even for him. Hang on a minute, James. You literally put this dark thing into your film, your script, and then you said, well, it's too dark, I can't do it. It was too dark for me. It was really just too dark. It didn't really work for me. It didn't really tell the story that I wanted to tell, which is much more about characters' different journeys emotionally. And for me, really the ending with Bloodsport petting the rat, and that to me was a perfect ending for the movie. This is the problem for me, right? Let me tell you what really happened here. He wrote this, he took it into the studio, and they said, no, you're not doing that. That's it. Because this is compelling. This is the kind of stuff that I want to see. Now, what he did was perfectly fine, but this is no different to what they tried to do with Justice League, right? This is the problem. This is the problem here. It's too dark for you. Hang on a minute. You wrote it. You came up with it, and then you're saying it's too dark for you. You're lying, James. You're not being honest, James. You wanted to do this, and they threw it out. This would have been a much better, more compelling ending. Having Superman under the influence of Brainiac or whatever, and having the Squad having to go after him would have been better than probably what we saw in this film. Although I love this film, and it would have actually put more butts in theatrical seats. And this is the problem. And this is what worries me. I would love to see a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League kind of adaptation for Suicide Squad 2, and I think James could do a good job. But this is disappointing because what he wrote here was amazing. James Gunn has spoken before about how the Suicide Squad originally had a much dark ending. Though he didn't reveal at the time, this is likely what he was referring to, considering they are the Suicide Squad. Many of them are expected to die, and many of them do in Gunn's version, especially if you're a male. On the beaches of Corto Maltese, however, his original ending may have taken it a step too far. No. This is what makes films great. This is what made the movie Seven great, right? You can't be involved with a Suicide Squad film and say it's too dark. It is a dark world. Or maybe, James, you're the wrong person to do Suicide Squad. It makes sense that Bloodsport would have reacted this way to Ratcatcher 2's death, given the father-daughter relationship they cultivated over the course of the film. It would have also been interesting to see performers like Elba, Melcher, Robbie and Davis pull off this ending. Yeah, because why do you bring in Idris Elba if not to do stuff like that? That's obviously why he brought him in. But an over-the-top bloodbath of this magnitude may not have been an appropriate ending. Why? It's probably for the best that Gunn opted for a more subtle, heartfelt conclusion to his DC feature debut. People would have been talking about that fucking ending for years, James. And basically, I know this is not your decision. This was Warner Brothers' decision, because this is the environment we now live in. We live in the MCU generation where everything must be bright and happy and end okay. And basically, we must never see anything too dark. And that's a shame, because what you originally put in here, James, was amazing, and it should have stayed in. The Batman movie posters reveal question mark on Riddler's costume. To the Batman. Wow. Is that what it says? What's it say there? What's that picture say? I think it says Batman. I think it says that anyway. To the Batman. It actually looks like a P. Anyway. It says does it say something else actually? Very interesting. DC releases 2 new The Batman posters ahead of a new trailer premiere at DC Fandome 2021. The film stars Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne Batman, Paul Dano as the Riddler, and Zoe Kravitz as Selina Kyle Catwoman. Rounding out the cast are Colin Farrell as the Penguin, Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon, and Andy Serkis as Alfred Pennyworth. The Batman focuses on a younger version of the character who's just getting started as a superhero. Though the film has been delayed several times due to the COVID-19 pandemic, DC is ramping up its marketing campaign now that filming is complete. Recently, they've teased Pattinson's Batman voice, which was met with a very positive reception from fans, and released several new Lego sets, complete with the first look at Alfred's costume, which hasn't been seen in any of the trailers or posters so far. Basically, the Batman marketing so far has been really, really good, including the Lego stuff. And I tell you what, this is an influence from Ann Sarnoff, because I think pre this film, like the Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman, were kind of old school WBDC marketing, but this seems to be on another level. It also proves that those films weren't particularly important, but this is the beginning of a new era, and this really is important to them, and that's great. Now, 2 new posters for the Batman show off Pattinson's menacing form and highlights a classic Riddler costume. Detail the new glimpses DC has provided of Dano's Riddlers have shown a more, utilitarian costume design, but a new poster clearly shows a question mark on his jacket, a nod to one of Riddler's signature motifs. This is what the Batman tweeted. This is from the official Batman account. Right, here we are. In anticipation of the new trailer for the Batman during DC Fandome tomorrow, which is today, check out posters for Batman and Riddler. Tune in. Right, let's have a look. So this is the first picture they posted. Now this is really, really cool. Now as you can tell, it's raining. Now Matt Reeves seems to like the red colours in the background, which I like too, because it brings out the bat insignia. He looks so cool. That really looks awesome, doesn't it? So let's look at the other one, if we can, because this Riddler one, right, let's try and zoom in on this, right? Because it's not easy to see, right? Yes, it does say to the Batman. Look, that's awesome. Look at that. Is that supposed to be the Riddler? I don't know. Anyway, it does say to the Batman on it. That's a very freaky picture, but I like it. And this is the style Matt Reeves is looking to go in. And I support that, Brilliant. So they're the pictures. In the comics, the Riddler is generally presented as one of the zanier villains in Batman's rogue gallery. His costume usually adorned with at least one question mark, but frequently featuring an all-over repeating pattern of the symbol is bright green with purple accents. Jim Carrey's live-action portrayal in 1995's Batman Forever even featured outlandishly red hair. So Dano's take on the Riddler, who wears military surplus gear and communicates in threatening riddles and codes that are reminiscent of the Zodiac Killer, doesn't have much in common with the classic depiction of the character. But this is kind of a different version, because he even has a different name. He'll still be called the Riddler. Isn't it Edward Nashton in this? And there is a version of Edward Nashton in the comics. So it is a different version of the Riddler as well that Matt's chosen, which is interesting. And I'd love to know Matt's motivations for using this version of the Riddler. The new poster highlighting the question mark on the Riddler's costume is a nice nod to his comic book roots, especially given the significant changes to his character. While the Batman's take on the Riddler is exciting and breathes new life into the character, it's good to acknowledge his most recognisable visual detail. 2. Even a small detail like this one clues viewers into the fact that they've seen this character before in other media, and at the same time highlights how much he's changed. The question mark signifies that yes, this is the Riddler, but it's singularity, starkness, and cruelty drawn lines also hint that this version isn't like the others, and that's very, very true. And as I've said already, I think this character could actually join forces with Robert Pattinson's The Batman. He may not actually be the villain of this story. Yeah, he's killing people because he wants to put the truth out there. So in fact, maybe he's a vigilante more than a villain, and maybe a vigilante more than a villain of this story, which means we have a mystery villain to unwrap in this movie, and that's how I suspect this film is going. Very exciting. Well, it was brilliant for me as a Dolph Lundgren fan to see him in the first Aquaman film in 2018. I remember when I first saw that film and I was so excited. And, you know, Dolph gets a lot of, I suppose, criticism for not being the greatest of actors. I mean, I first saw him in Rocky IV. I think he did brilliant in that film. Great, you know, Sly really got a performance out of him. Masters of the Universe, I wouldn't say the performance is great. I mean, I think he's a great He-Man. I enjoyed that film, by the way. So it's great that he's confirmed that he will be in Aquaman 2, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Aquaman 2 set photo confirms Dolph Lundgren's return. By the way, I always knew he was coming back. It was obvious. Dolph Lundgren's previously hinted return to Atlantis for DC's Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is confirmed in a newly revealed set photo by Dan Zielinski of Screen Rant. Dolph Lundgren's Aquaman 2 return is confirmed in a new set photo. Lundgren played King Nereus, leader of the Atlantean tribe of Exabel, the father of Amber Heard's Mera in 2018's Aquaman. Well, I hope you can keep that baddie to be behaving herself, Mr. King, because, yeah, she hasn't been behaving herself recently, has she? But as Mera, she has been behaving herself as a great hero. It's just in reality where she's nothing like Mera. Anyway, that first Aquaman standalone film, of course, went on to be a huge blockbuster, the biggest DCEU smash with 1.1 billion in worldwide box office grosses. Now Jason Momoa is set to return as DC's Arthur Curry, with Heard also back as Mera. Other returning cast members including Patrick Wilson as Prince Orm, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as Black Manta, Tamora Morrison as Thomas Curry, and Randall Park as Dr. Stephen Shin. Not confirmed yet, but reported to be returning, is Nicole Kidman as Atlanta. Yeah, you know, what's her name? Atlanta, yeah. She has to come. I loved her in the first film. I think, well, look, Nicole's brilliant, isn't she? She's always going to be brilliant, whatever she does. Also now confirmed to be back for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, as its full title goes, is Lundgren as King Nereus. The Rocky IV actor actually hinted at his involvement in Aquaman 2 way back in February when he mentioned the film would be going before cameras in London in the summer. Lundgren's confirmation now comes via a set photo showing the actor with his King Nereus hair going, but not his costume. See the image in the space below. So this is him. I think this is what he partially wears in the film. I think he's kind of a little bit ready to go onto set and start filming, but maybe he's not totally ready there. But Dolph is looking very good, in shape, and really, really young. So it's great to see him looking so good. Lundgren is indeed a busy actor these days. He's also appearing alongside Sylvester Stallone and Jason Statham in Expendables 4, and the classic character of Lundgren's is also about to get a revisit as Stallone prepares to release his long-promised revamp of Rocky IV, officially titled Rocky IV, Rocky vs. Drago. I really can't wait for that director's cut, by the way. I'm a big Rocky and Sly Stallone fan. The ultimate director's cut, wow, fans will indeed get to relive the epic Rocky vs. Drago fight on the big screen as the director's cut releases for one night only on November the 11th, 2021. Plot details on Lundgren's other big project, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, are naturally being kept under tight wraps by DC and Warner Brothers. Momoa himself did recently tease that the film has much higher stakes than the original, but also more humour. Fans also recently got their first look at Aquaman's new costume, which to some has decidedly Snyderverse-like look to it. The new Aquaman 2 revelations could be coming soon as DC fandom unfolds on Saturday's one-day event this year. Let's go back to what they said there. Aquaman's new costume, which to some has a decidedly Snyderverse-like look to it. That's interesting because we've been talking on this channel recently how things are changing at Warner Brothers and they're embracing Zack Snyder again, and they seem to be embracing his vision for the DCEU again. If I was a Snyder fan, I would tune into DC fandom. You can absolutely still restore the Snyderverse. I'm doing the same. I'm supporting fandom and supporting today's Restore the Snyderverse event. I think we can do both. I know you want to outtrend and destroy fandom. I know that's what you would love. And maybe you will do that. It depends what news is revealed, of course. But listen, people are hyped for these films. And my advice is don't spoil that, but do what you have to do. Expectations of James Wan's Aquaman 2 are indeed much higher than were the expectations for the original film, which came in the wake of the failed Justice League. Listen, The expectations were higher because of the failed Justice League, and did not necessarily feel like a smash hit in the making. It remains to be seen if the new Aquaman lives up to those expectations, but the original film did show that Momoa's Aquaman is a viable big screen character outside the realm of Justice League. The fans are certainly hungry for more undersea DC action, bigger stakes, and more humour. Sounds like an interesting formula, and it will be fascinating to see how Aquaman 2 delivers on that promise. Yep, big movie, lots of expectation, people threatening not to watch it because of Amber Heard, but I don't think that's a reality that's going to hurt the film, because I think people came in for the first one, they liked what they saw. The reason it made $1.1 billion globally is because people liked Jason Momoa's performance in Justice League. Whether you like that film or not, he did well in that film, and broader audiences enjoyed Arthur Curry, played by Jason Momoa. It was a great film, and you know, James Wan is back. He won't let us down. It will be stunning to look at again, but it will be lots of depth, a bit of fun, and I can't wait to see it. But the only thing that worries me about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom isn't the film itself. This impending strike looks like it's going to happen in Hollywood. So if you're a member of a certain union, because it's not all the unions, I don't think, I just think it's one certain union. Now, if anyone is part of that union, let's say working in London, part of the American crew, the actors or anyone, they would have to be on strike. This could affect the film. But I think because this is just one union, it might not affect the industry as much as maybe I thought it was, and maybe what the media are trying to say is, right at this minute, talks have broken down. It looks like they're going to go on strike. The industry really can't afford this, and us as DC fans really can't afford to see Aquaman delayed. If it was COVID, you say, well, that's Mother Nature, that's a virus that's created, we can't do nothing about it. But this can be stopped. Just pay the fucking people what they deserve. This has been the DCEU Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives, and I will see you today, hopefully later on, reacting to the big DC fandom news, because this is a huge day, of course, and I will be on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. So please keep an eye on my feed. I will be updating you about DC fandom throughout the day. So keep an eye on me there. Keep an eye on me on here as well. I will try and do some bite-sized reaction videos, but if I don't, feel confident that I'll be back tomorrow with a huge DCEU Daily talking about everything that's happened on today's DC fandom. We are going to have a very exciting Flash panel with surprises. We have the Batman panel with surprises and a second trailer for the Batman. And we've got a Black Adam panel. Not many people talking about that. That's very exciting, because that's where Cavill could show up. And of course we have a Fury of the Gods panel, and then all the great DC shows have got panels. It's a huge day, and I hope your DC fandom dreams come true. So comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection, and I will see you later on. Good luck, everyone. It's a massive day, isn't it?